Well, I think the first bit of advice would be to really pay close attention to the development of artificial intelligence. I think we need to just be very careful in how we adopt artificial intelligence and to make sure that researchers don't get carried.
Bonjour à tous, bienvenue sur ma chaîne. Aujourd'hui, on va parler d'Elon Musk, ce personnage qui fascine des millions de personnes à travers cette planète. Cet homme d'affaires, scientifique, philosophe, est en train de révolutionner les transports, l'électrique, la conquête spatiale, l'intelligence artificielle. Elon Musk, dans cette interview, va nous parler de sa vision de la vie, de ses projets, de ses rêves, surtout aussi de ses craintes vis-à-vis de l'intelligence artificielle. Il va aussi nous parler du RSA, du revenu universel, vous avez bien entendu, de sa vision du futur et comment trouver la motivation pour des millions de personnes qui vont perdre leur emploi dans un futur. À la fin de l'interview, restez avec moi. Gros bonus, si vous voulez postuler ou travailler avec Elon Musk, il nous donne des petites astuces, des questions qu'il donne en entretien d'embauche. Restez avec moi. Bon visionnage.
The part that I find personally most motivating is that it creates a sense of adventure and it makes people excited about the future. And if you consider two futures, one where we are forever confined to Earth until eventually something terrible happens, or another future where we are out there on many planets, maybe even going beyond the solar system, I think that second version is incredibly exciting and inspiring. And there need to be reasons to get up in the morning. You know, life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring and make life worth living.
Elon Musk, devant ses chefs d'État, annonce que l'humanité n'a que deux options, soit rester sur cette planète et attendre la fin, soit aller à la conquête d'autres planètes et assurer la survie de notre espèce. Je vous laisse avec la deuxième partie et on revient après.
So what is life for you? I mean, you look at our life, and I heard you before speaking. Is it a dream? Is it
Is life
a
a
real?
dream?
Is it a million D? What is life for Elon Musk?
I find as I get older, I find that question to be maybe more and more confusing or troubling or uncertain. I think particularly when you see the advancement of something like video games, you know, like say 40 years ago, you had video games, the most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot, and you're like batting it back and forth.
I played it.
Oh yeah, like me too, exactly. I
That's
played Pong. Exactly, it sort of dates you a little bit, but yeah, we both played the same game. And that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously. And you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality. And if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. They'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. And then it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past and that we're not in one of those games ourselves? I can tell you what I hope the future has, as opposed to maybe what it will be, because this may just be wishful thinking. I mean, I hope we are out there on Mars and maybe beyond Mars, the moons of Jupiter. I hope we're traveling frequently throughout the solar system, perhaps preparing for missions to nearby star systems. I think all of this is possible within 50 years. And I think that would be very exciting to do that. And I think we'll see autonomy and artificial intelligence advance tremendously. I think that's actually quite near term. My guess is in probably 10 years, it will be very unusual for cars to be built that are not fully autonomous. 10 years.
10 years from now.
Yeah. I think almost all cars built will be capable of full autonomy in about 10 years. As it is, the Tesla cars that are made today have the sensor system necessary for full autonomy, and we think probably enough compute power to be safer than a person. So getting in a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just tell it where you want to go, and it takes you there with extreme levels of safety. You know, I think one of the most troubling questions is artificial intelligence. And I don't mean narrow AI, like vehicle autonomy I would put in the narrow AI class. It's narrowly trying to achieve a certain function. But deep artificial intelligence, or what is sometimes called artificial general intelligence, where you could have AI that is much smarter than the smartest human on Earth. This, I think, is a dangerous situation.
Why it is dangerous? I mean, there is two views. One view is artificial intelligence will help humanity. There is another school of thought is artificial intelligence is a threat to humanity. Why is it?
Well, I think it's both. You know, it's like one way to think of it is imagine we were going to be visited. Imagine you're very confident that we were going to be visited by super intelligent aliens in, let's say, 10 years or 20 years at the most. Super intelligent.
So you think within 20 years
yes,
we'll have alien in Earth?
Well, digital superintelligence will be like an alien.
What will technology next? What's next in technology?
What's next in technology?
That will disturb the way we live, the way we think, the way we do business.
Well, the most near-term impact from a technological standpoint is autonomous cars, like fully self-driving cars. Like I said, that's going to happen much faster than people realize. It's going to be a great convenience to be an autonomous car, but there are many people whose jobs it is to drive. So in fact, I think it might be the single largest employer of people is driving in various forms. And so then we need to figure out new roles for what do those people do. But it will be very disruptive and very quick. Now, I should characterize what I mean by quick, because there are quick means different things to different people. There are over 2 billion vehicles in the world, approaching 2.5 billion cars and trucks in the world. The total new vehicle production capacity is about 100 million. Which makes sense because the life of a car or truck before it's finally scrapped is about 25 years. So the point at which we see full autonomy appear will not be the point at which there is massive societal upheaval, because it will take a long time to make enough autonomous vehicles to disrupt employment. So that disruption I'm talking about will take place over about 20 years. But still, 20 years is a short period of time to have, I think, something like 12 to 15% of the workforce be unemployed.
This is the largest global government summit. We have over 139 government here. If you want to advise government official to be ready for the future, what is three things or three advice you'll give them?
Well, I think the first bit of advice would be to really pay close attention to the development of artificial intelligence. I think we need to just be very careful in how we adopt artificial intelligence, and to make sure that researchers don't get carried away. Because sometimes what happens is a scientist can get so engrossed in their work, they don't necessarily realize the ramifications of what they're doing. So I think it's important for public safety that we, governments keep a close eye on artificial intelligence and make sure that it does not represent a danger to the public. The demand for electricity will increase dramatically. So currently, in terms of total energy usage in the world, it's about 1/3 electricity, about 1/3 transport, about 1/3 heating. So over time, that will transition to almost all, not all, but predominantly electricity, which means that the demand for electricity will probably triple. So it's going to be very important to think about how do you make so much more electricity. But what to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income, I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap. I think I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
Dans cette deuxième partie d'interview, Elon Musk nous parle de la vie, de ses rêves et de ses craintes. Il commence tout d'abord par nous parler du développement de l'humanité depuis 100 ans. Il donne un exemple sur les jeux vidéo. C'est vrai que depuis 30 ans, les jeux vidéo n'ont cessé d'évoluer. Aujourd'hui, on peut jouer avec des millions de personnes en instant T. La technologie, tout pareil, on peut être en conférence en simultané avec des millions de personnes dans le monde. C'est incroyable comme le développement va vite. Ce qui amène Elon Musk à nous parler de sa vision du futur, surtout du transport. Pour Elon Musk, toutes les voitures dans 10 ans qui vont être fabriquées seront autonomes. Sur ça, je crois qu'Elon Musk a de l'avance avec ses voitures. Toutes ces voitures ont l'autopilote. Certes, dans certains pays, ça marche pas encore, mais il a déjà pris de l'avance. Pour lui, une voiture va être comme aller dans un ascenseur, c'est-à-dire appuyer sur un bouton et l'ascenseur nous mène à l'étage où on veut. Musk nous parle aussi de nos besoins en énergie. Il dit que l'humanité va multiplier par 3 ses besoins en énergie électrique. Ce qui va poser un réel problème pour beaucoup de pays et sera un avantage pour beaucoup d'autres. Je vous laisse suivre la dernière partie de cette interview et je reviens juste après.
I interview somebody, my interview question is always the same. It's
What you
just,
ask?
I said, tell me the story of your life and the decisions that you made along the way and why you made them. And then, and also tell me about some of the most difficult problems you worked on and how you solved them. And that question, I think, is very important, because the people that really solve the problem, they know exactly how they solved it. They know the little details. And the people that pretended to solve the problem, they can maybe go one level and then they
Merci à
get
tous pour votre confiance et j'espère vous revoir très bientôt. N'oubliez pas, mes amis, de vous abonner à ma chaîne et de mettre des likes. Cela va m'aider à me développer et à développer cette chaîne et à mettre du contenu intéressant chaque semaine. Merci à tous et bonne soirée.